Hi guys, it's Miracle Pet. Welcome back to another video. I'm going to teach you how to convince your parents into letting you get a hamster. Hamsters are very special, and I don't know what I would do without one. So, I feel everyone should be able to get a hamster, no matter what their parents think. So, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you how a real hamster conversation with your parents would look like. Let's get started. Okay, so I have my computer back there with everything that I'm going to tell you about because I can't remember everything because I have a terrible memory and we have a lot to go over. Okay, so the first thing you should do a lot of research, watch a lot of YouTube channels. That's what I did. First I used WikiHow. Don't false information. If you know a lot about the topic, your parents will see that and they'll be more inclined to give you something that you know how to take care of and they know that you'll give it a good life. Another thing is you should calculate the cost of everything you'll need from into the cage and how much the cage is going to cost. Here's a tip. If your parents are very concerned with the money, I recommend you not get a critter trail or anything from a pet store. Even if it's big enough, pet stores, they're way too expensive. But you shouldn't get a critter trail anyways. They're terrible. And too tiny. They're like a mini torture device for hamsters. Calculate the cost of the wheel, the cage itself, the bedding, how much it's going to cost each month, including the food, new toys. Can't let your hamster get bored. Also the hideouts, all the chew toys. Yeah, calculate the cost of everything. That'll show you that you're prepared and you know how much it's going to cost. So pay it with your own money, or you could split the cost, or say like, here's the deal. I pay for everything the first time and then you guys pay for the food and bedding. That's what I basically did. And the bedding's around $10. It depends on what bedding you get. I use Aspen. Don't use pine or cedar wood or scented bedding. The food isn't that much a month either. Also $10. I run out of bedding about every 2 months, so $10 per month and $20 every other month. If that makes sense. Then tell them exactly what you need, along with the cost of how it's going to cost in total. Tell them like what you need, what kind of wheel, what kind of hideouts, what kind of toys, what kind of cage you want to make or buy. I recommend using a bin cage because they're huge. You could get them like at Target for like $15 and they're like that size, but like bigger for much less. And if they have any questions or concerns with it, like they're like, what if it smells? I don't want my house to be smelly. You could be like, well, hamsters don't usually smell. If you do your research, hamsters don't smell unless you get a big cage and clean it out regularly. Also, hamsters are not really smelly creatures. Syrians are more smelly than dwarfs, but I recommend if it's your first time, Syrians are the way to go because they're easier to handle, they don't bite as much, and they're easier to tame. Also, you have to get your parents into a good mood. It's not gonna work if they're at the mall, or they're in a rush, and you're like, can I have a hamster? And they're like, no. So I'd recommend it be after dinner and shove them some chocolates. That's what I always do. I'm like, here, have a chocolate. And they're like, okay. And they're like all happy, like, yay, chocolate, yay. And then I'm like, can I have a hamster? And they're like, what do you have to say? Stay. I really can't speak. I just came back from school. the first day back. And show them how responsible you could be. My friend, she recently asked her grandma if she could get a hamster, and she said only if she has her room clean and she does her chores for 2 months. Seems reasonable, really. So you have to show your parents that you're responsible. Do your chores, keep your room clean. Show them that you could keep up with yourself before you get a new hamster, because it's a whole nother life for the hamster, and you have to take care of that life and also your own, because your parents don't want to be wound up with feeding the hamster, cleaning out its cage, doing all the research on something you already know and something you could do, just you choose not to. That is a lot of my advice. Yeah, that's the word. If you have any troubles, comment down below. So now I am going to show you the example. This is my mom.
Hi.
She's going to demonstrate with me on how to convince your parents into getting a hamster.
Hamsters! They're so cute!
That's another reason why your parents should let you, because they're so adorable.
They're just so adorable.
So we're gonna start now. Hi.
Hey, Yana, what's up?
Are you in a good mood?
Almost.
Here's some chocolate.
Oh, now I am.
I brought you here because I want a hamster. Don't worry, I've done my research.
Here we go again.
What
Another animal.
What a hamster needs is they need a cage of at least 450 square inches of space. Where we could get that cage is we could go to Target and get a bin and cut out parts and put mesh in it.
Oh, that sounds complicated.
It's really not. I watched many videos on it.
Are there directions online?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And who can help you? Because I might cut off my finger.
My dad.
Oh, okay, okay.
What a hamster needs is they obviously need a cage, or else they're just gonna free roam, and you don't really want that. They need bedding.
Bedding.
They need a wheel,
A wheel.
a hideout, a water bowl, a food dish, and many toys to keep them from being bored.
Okay, so let me get this straight. There's things that you're gonna have to buy only once, but then there's things you're gonna have to buy each month. So can it eat food, say like I have broccoli and carrots for dinner tonight? Can we give it some of that instead of buying like pet food or?
Well, no, because if you feed your hamster too many fruit and vegetables each day, they could get diabetes and they could die. And
We don't want that to happen.
The cost of everything isn't too much. The wheel is about $10. The hideout is about $5. The food and water bill are just a few bucks each. We already went over the cost of the reoccurring prices.
Right.
And how I think I'm going to pay for this is I think I could pay for the whole cage and the one-time purchases, since that's way more than the bedding and the food.
Okay.
Will you pay for the food and the bedding?
Okay, so let me get this straight. The cage is gonna be pretty cheap because it's just those bins from Target, not one of those little critter trails from the pet store.
Those are very expensive.
They're very expensive and they're not even good for the pets. So the bin is better. Are you willing to like do an extra chore each month to cover the cost of the bedding? Yeah? And I know I've seen bedding for pretty cheap, like on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Is that good bedding to use?
Well, it depends. If it's pine and cedar bedding or scented bedding, it could cause the hamster to have respiratory problems.
Ooh, that's not good. Okay, what happens if you don't change the bedding that often? Is it gonna smell? Because I don't want my house to smell like yuck.
Well, hamsters aren't very smelly animals unless you don't change it often.
So what's often? How often should you be changing the bedding?
About every other week. If you have a very small hamster cage, you should do it every week. But if you have a decent sized one, you should do it every other week.
Okay, and how often do you feed them or change the water?
Well, it depends. If your hamster devours it, then you should restock the food, but don't put too much food, because then you might overfeed them. Because they take their food put it in their cheeks, and the cheeks come out. And then they take it to their place where they're nesting, and then they leave it there and burrow it there, just like in the wild.
All right, let me see. Any other questions? How long do hamsters live for?
They live, well, it depends. I want a Syrian because they're good for first-time hamster owners. So they live about 1.5 to 2 years. So not too long, but they're not too much of a commitment, which is good.
Oh, I know another question. How about exercise? How often do they need to be out of their cage?
Well, you don't need to take them out often because you get them used to you. When you first get them, you have to wait a few days before you start handling them. When you do, this is called taming. This helps them get used to you and not bite you, because when they're in unfamiliar environments, they tend to bite people. So that's not good.
All right.
What if you said no?
But you can't have a hamster?
Why would you have said no?
I think my two main reasons, well, besides thinking maybe you can't take care of it, feeding it, was my concerns were the smell. I thought our house was gonna stink. And it hasn't really, because we have essential oils. No, just kidding, because you're pretty good about changing the hamster cage. And the other concern I had was I was afraid it was gonna get out in our house and chew things up, and then maybe our dogs would get a hold of it or something.
Thank you for letting me interview you.
You're welcome. Good luck, you guys. I hope your parents say yes.
Everyone deserves to have a
Don't do it. Just kidding. It's worth it. It's a great pet for a beginner pet because it's not as hard as like a dog. You don't have to take them for walks and train them and potty train them and all that. So
You can't potty train a hamster though.
Well, it's a great beginner pet for people for kids. And they're so sweet, so nice.
If you train them right.
Oh wait, I know. How about one more thing? Some hamsters are faster than others. Some are slower. So I like the slower ones.
I don't recommend a robo or a dwarf for first-time hamster owners because they're very fast.
And you can't hold them and like really enjoy. You could hold them, but you can't really enjoy them because you feel like they're just gonna jump out of your hand.
Sugar loves to be held. She loves attention. But like I said, no hamsters are the same. So one hamster could be like, no, bite. I don't like you. Even how hard.
Does it hurt when they bite you?
Well, it depends on what hamster. Oh,
Look at the butterflies.
Some hamsters, they could bite you and you could bleed, which is very bad. But if your hamsters do that, I recommend to wash your hands out with soap because they could transmit diseases. I think.
Yeah, but we've never experienced that. And even as a kid, we used to have hamsters. Well, I told you how we had to return them, but before then and after then, we had a lot of hamsters, and we never experienced like really mean hamsters. Like, it just wasn't a thing. So have fun, you guys. Good luck. Don't forget, get the big hamster cages, not the critter trails, and you'll save a ton of money.
Petco released a hamster cage thing called Tiny Tails. They look like toys. They even put a map in saying, collect them all. And they're tiny. They're like this big, which is sad. Very, very sad.
Just marketing to get you to buy them. But also stay tuned or check out her channel because she has these really cool hamster treats that she makes for them. So good, so cute. Like sometimes I just want to try to nibble on them myself. I believe it. All right, you guys.